He didn't say, "I acknowledge you." He didn't kneel. He didn't walk through a curtain onto a stage and make a public declaration that the cameras could capture and the crowd could react to. Solo Sikoa, the man who called the Bloodline a doghouse, who labeled Jacob Fatu a lapdog, who dared Roman Reigns to come and get him personally on SmackDown just 7 days ago, sent a message through an intermediary in a Baltimore arena after Monday Night Raw went off the air. 2 words, passed through a middleman, delivered quietly, without ceremony, without the kind of production value that either confirms or denies the magnitude of what is being communicated. I'm ready, that is all. No acknowledgement, no formal submission, no theater. Just 2 words that landed with the weight of everything that has happened between these 2 men over the last several months, received by Roman Reigns with a slight nod and a silence that told you more than any verbal response could have. The Bloodline's reunion is not yet complete, but the door that Solo kicked shut on SmackDown has just been pushed open again, quietly, from the inside, by the man who kicked it shut. And Wrestling Stands is here to break down every word, every silence, and every implication of what those 2 words actually mean. Quick favor before we get fully into this, if you're enjoying the content here at Wrestling Stands, please smash that like button and hit subscribe. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. It's completely free for you, but it means the absolute world to us and genuinely helps the channel grow. Already subscribed? You absolute legend, thank you so much. Right, let's get properly into it. Let's establish the full timeline, because the speed at which Solo Sikoa's position has shifted is one of the most dramatically satisfying reversals the Bloodline saga has produced. 7 days ago on SmackDown, 7 days, not 7 weeks, not 7 months, 7 days, Solo Sikoa stood in front of cameras and delivered one of the most defiant, most contemptuous responses to a peace offering that this storyline has ever generated. The invitation Roman sent through Jacob Fatu was not just rejected, it was mocked. Solo called the Bloodline a doghouse. He called Fatu, the man Roman had chosen as his messenger, the man Solo himself had once positioned as his most dangerous asset, a lapdog. And then he issued the challenge that was designed to shut the conversation down permanently. Come and get me personally, not through intermediaries, not through invitations. Come yourself, Roman, or leave me alone. That was 7 days ago. And then Baltimore happened. The CFG Bank Arena on the 15th of June 2026. Roman Reigns standing in the ring with the Ulafala in his hands, and Jacob Fatu, Solo's former enforcer, the man Solo had once pointed at problems and watched those problems dissolve, kneeling to receive it. The sacred necklace placed around the neck of the man Solo had dismissed as a lapdog just days earlier. An act of ceremony and belonging that did not require Solo's permission, did not require Solo's presence, and did not leave any space for Solo's authority within the new configuration being formalized in front of an arena full of witnesses. Solo watched that, and within hours, the message was being passed through an intermediary. I'm ready, now let's do what this script demands we do and analyze those 2 words with the seriousness they deserve. Because the choice of I'm ready over any number of alternative formulations is not accidental. Words matter in the Bloodline. The specific language of acknowledgement, of submission, of family belonging, it has always carried enormous weight in this storyline. I acknowledge you is the phrase that this entire saga has been built around. It is the verbal key that unlocks the door to Roman's inner circle, the phrase that Paul Heyman has demanded on Roman's behalf, that Solo himself once stood at Roman's side to enforce, that Jacob Fatu muttered through gritted teeth in Turin. Solo Sikoa did not say I acknowledge you, deliberately, consciously, with full awareness of what the absence of those 3 words communicates alongside the presence of the 2 he chose instead. I'm ready is not submission. It is availability. It is Solo Sikoa opening a door without walking through it yet, signaling willingness to engage without conceding the terms of that engagement. The distinction is subtle but it is real and it is important. A man who acknowledges Roman Reigns is a man who accepts the hierarchy, accepts the authority, accepts the position within the family structure that Roman assigns to him. A man who says I'm ready is a man who wants to end the war without necessarily signing the peace treaty that Roman would prefer. Solo is not coming home on Roman's terms. Not yet. He is communicating that he is prepared to explore what coming home looks like. And that gap, between readiness and acknowledgement, between willingness and submission, is where the most interesting negotiation in the Bloodline saga is about to happen. Roman's response is, characteristically, the part of this story that rewards the most careful attention. A slight nod, silence, and then he walked away. Let us be clear about what Roman Reigns communicated with that response, because it is precise in the way that all of Roman's communication is precise. He did not reject the message. He did not send word back that Solo's terms were insufficient, that I'm ready falls short of the acknowledgement required for readmission. He did not make Solo wait in uncertainty about whether the message had even registered. The nod confirmed receipt, the silence withheld judgment, and walking away preserved Roman's authority without either closing the door or walking through it himself. Roman Reigns received I'm ready with a nod that said, I hear you. What happens next is on my timeline, and if you want to know what that timeline looks like, keep watching. That is the most powerful possible response to Solo's message, because it puts the anxiety entirely on Solo's side of the equation. Solo has made his move. He has indicated readiness, and now he waits, in a position where the man he once challenged to come and get him personally is the one deciding when and whether to respond. The power dynamic has inverted completely, not through a confrontation, not through a match, but through 2 words and a nod in a Baltimore arena. Let's talk about the Usos' reaction to the Baltimore ceremony, because it is a detail that adds important texture to the picture of where the full bloodline stands. Uso in particular reportedly responded to the Ulla ceremony with grim displeasure, not celebration, not the kind of unified family warmth that Roman ceremony was presumably designed to produce. Displeasure, and that displeasure, in the context of everything we know about how G has been navigating the Fatu situation, is entirely legible. Uso has not forgotten Paris. Has not forgotten Thatcher looking him in the eye and saying he was just the brother who couldn't get it done. Has not forgotten the refused orders and the ignored commands and the one-knee acknowledgement that was performed rather than felt. The Ulla going around Thatcher's neck represents Roman officially elevating the man who has been the most visible source of G's humiliation within the faction. However much the tears after the LA Knight rescue complicated that dynamic, however much Thatcher's genuine intervention shifted something real between them, the sight of Roman's hands placing the sacred necklace around Thatcher's neck rather than offering it to the people who held the family together during Roman's absence carries a specific sting that G's expression in that moment made visible to anyone paying attention. And now, with Solo's "I'm ready" message on the table, G is potentially looking at a future where both Fatu and Solo are officially welcomed back into the fold ahead of any genuine reckoning with how the Usos were treated during the faction's most chaotic period. That is a quiet grievance that is going to need addressing at some point. Roman's bloodline may be assembling. The question of whether everyone in that assembly is genuinely at peace, or whether some of them are simply performing peace for the tribal chief, is the thread that could unravel everything again. Let's think about what a fully reunited bloodline actually looks like in the current WWE landscape, because the implications are staggering. Roman Reigns at the head of the table, the Usos as established veterans of the faction, proven and tested, Jacob Fatu with the Ulla, the physical embodiment of official belonging, and Solo Sikoa, if the "I'm ready" message leads where it appears to be leading, back in the fold with Tamar Tonga and the MFTs potentially alongside him. That is not a faction. That is an institution. That is the most complete, most powerful, most physically overwhelming assembly of related talent under a single authority that WWE has ever attempted to coordinate simultaneously. And Seth Rollins, watching all of this assemble while simultaneously chasing Roman's World Heavyweight Championship, is going to need to find a way to be interesting against a united version of the bloodline that has no obvious weak seams to exploit. The structural flaws that Rollins identified in Paris, the Fatu insubordination, the chain of command failures, the 2 words he delivered with a smile, those flaws are being addressed one by one. The Ulla ceremony addressed Fatu's official belonging. Solo's message addresses the external rebel lion. The tears after the LA Knight rescue addressed the Uso-Fatu relationship. Roman is methodically closing every opening that his enemies have been exploiting. Which means Rollins' window, the window of factional fracture that he has been so brilliantly operating within, may be closing faster than he anticipated. Solo Sikoa's "I'm ready" is 2 words that contain an entire negotiation. They contain the acknowledgement that the war has cost more than it has produced. They contain the recognition that watching Jacob Fatu receive the Ulla made something undeniable that Solo had been refusing to acknowledge. They contain the pride of a man who cannot quite bring himself to say the 3 words the bloodline has always required, choosing instead a formulation that preserves some dignity while still opening the door. And they contain, somewhere in the space between the lines, the question that Roman Reigns is now sitting with: do I take what Solo is offering, or do I wait for the full acknowledgement? Roman nodded. Roman walked away, and the most dangerous faction in professional wrestling history just took one significant step closer to being whole again. Whatever Roman decides next will define the bloodline's trajectory for the rest of the year, and Wrestling Stands will be here for every word, every silence, and every nod. Thanks so much for watching. It genuinely means everything to us here at Wrestling Stands. We'll see you in the next one.